Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, one and all. Today we're going to be reacting to some Star Wars lore. You already know it. I'm already know it. I'm excited. Today, more specifically, we're getting into all Jedi ranks and specializations. All 45 Jedi types, including legends. Which, honestly, that's a lot of Jedi types. I didn't know there was that many. So, get your snacks to get ready. Hope you guys had a great day, I had a good day. I had some fun. I'm, trying to my best to grow and everything. A little bit of a self-insert here for myself. And all that. So far, it's been going well. I've been enjoying my work. I know, just monologuing here. Besides the point, I know you're here for the video, so let's get into it. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what brings us today to this one. I am excited to see what the highest rank. As far as I'm aware, Jedi Master is highest rank. But I didn't think I thought there was like 7 or 8 or 9, not 45, Anyways, let's get into it.
The historic Jedi Order prior to its destruction by Order 66 had a clear hierarchy of ranks among its members, from the lowest titled as Initiates to the highest titled as Grand Master. But beyond these linear designations, there were dozens of unique specializations that Jedi fell into, where they devoted their entire lives to mastering and applying the Force. This video will go over all of the ranks based on the traditional hierarchy of the Jedi Order, then jump into the various different types and classes Jedi were allowed to specialize in once they reached the rank of Knight, along with the unique, rare ranks that some held. First are the Jedi Initiates, commonly referred to simply as younglings. This title was given to all that were brought into the Order during their infancy and kept until they reached proper maturity to become apprentices under an assigned Knight or Master as a Padawan. The cutoff date to when Initiates were to become a Padawan differed depending on the species, as some matured far quicker or longer than the typical human. However, typically human Initiates were expected to pass their respective trials to be accepted as Padawans around the age of 12 or 13. Initiates were given minimal training in the Force by their caregivers, which included opening up their minds to the mystical element and familiarizing them with the ideals of the Jedi Code. Once they were old enough, Initiates were placed into clans of 10, in which they would come to live, study, and socialize with their grouped peers until they had reached Padawanship. Learning to draw upon the Force in the natural manner, the basics of lightsaber forms, and the history of the Order were the common focuses that they studied. Upon the nearing of their adolescence, Initiates were overviewed during a tournament of their talents by fellow Knights and Masters, who sought Padawans for either their natural Force connections between the two, or simply due to their outstanding skills in lightsaber combat. The
gladiator pit. I need you to fight with you, and I see who's better, who I feel connected to, and I'm picking you. Why? Because you beat that guy. I think you will work better with me. He's a little bit rash. Oh, that guy's a little bit angry. I don't like him. I'm gonna pick the other guy just because he's the more calm and collected. Even if he lost, stuff like that. It's funny in a way to think about it. How gladiatorial this kind of feels, right? Like they're pretty much raising these champions to fight for their cause in a way. But like, oh, so yeah, I get it. It's how you get a good soldiers and stuff. Even though they're not supposed to be soldiers, they're supposed to be peacekeepers, and we say that with big parentheses, peacekeepers.
Chosen by a senior member of the Order, the Initiate would officially become a Padawan and be given the traditional braid as a symbol of their ascension. Those who were not chosen due to their lack of talent in the Force or maturity were given the option to join the Jedi Service Corps, where they used their limited abilities of the Force to help plants grow and flourish on impoverished worlds. Initiates that refused to join the less savory positions offered by the Service Corps were made to leave the Jedi Order. Second are the Padawans. They were members.
You get flunked. Man, you didn't pass it. I'm sorry. You got a 24%. You weren't even trying. Get him out.
Specifically chosen by either a Knight or Master for the hopes of being directly mentored by an experienced Jedi. At this stage, Padawans were known for being put into situations that could result in death, as any mission that they were sent on alongside their master could result in violent chaos. As Padawans, they were no longer training within simulated events within the safety of the temple, but they were thrown into the dangerous and unpredictable galaxy. Their ability to hold their own was essential, and those that had become Padawans had proven themselves capable of survival, using both their talents in the Force and, if required, their skill in lightsaber combat. Padawans could find themselves under mentorship for as little as 3 years to as long as 10 years. This depended on their achievements as an apprentice as well as the time period of the galaxy.
For
example, during wartime, Padawans were known for being knighted at a far quicker pace than traditionally.
As the wasn't that one lady or one Jedi Knight or Jedi Padawan, like one of the youngest to turn into a Jedi Knight around like 16, I think? Like during a wartime, I'm pretty sure, somewhere around that in the Old Republic, if I remember right.
Order was desperate in replacing their upper ranks of those who had died in battle. In most cases, however, the Padawan was required to pass the Jedi trials before they could be considered for knightship. They were known as the trials of skill, courage, of the flesh, of the spirit, and of insight. Skill required a Padawan's ability to master all forms of lightsaber combat, including some advanced techniques as well as their mastery of the Force. Courage tested their ability to face down even the most fearsome foes and commit to their vow of doing anything to prevent evil, even if it meant sacrificing one's life to save another's. Flesh tested one's determination to keep fighting and to stay in line with their taught ideals, even if they were inflicted great physical pain. Spirit was done for them to overcome their greatest inner fears and potential darkness and being able to still maintain a light side view of their actions afterwards. Lastly, insight tested their ability to see through common illusions and to ensure that they were experienced enough to open their minds to the larger picture at hand, and not to irresponsibly jump to simple conclusions when faced with complex problems. Although most of these trials were tested within the Jedi Temple through simulations.
That seems good. Like, you know, responsible. Like, you're covering all the very important topics that you would need to cover for a Jedi to make sure they don't fall to the dark side. All of these seems surprisingly and unsurprisingly, for, you know, because this thing lasted for that many long thousands of years. It's surprising. It's not surprising. It shows why they didn't fall immediately.
Some were passed by Padawans on the field. For example, Anakin passed the trial of flesh due to losing his arm with his fight against Count Dooku. Third are knights. Achieving knightship was when a member of the Order was officially considered a Jedi and not simply a Force user in training. As a knight, they were given far more freedom to serve the Force as they saw fit, whether it be going out into the galaxy and solving problems, or specializing back in the temple and serving the Order in a supportive occupation.
Basically,
however, during times
your
of
own
war,
job.
knights were pressured to take up arms in the conflict as generals by the Council, forcing some to abandon their desired paths of the Force. To become a Jedi Master, a knight was required to either successfully train multiple Padawans or demonstrate grand achievements in their respective fields. Most knights never achieved this rank, and thus never rose in the hierarchy of the Jedi Order, even by the time of old age. Fourth are Jedi Masters. This was the highest rank achievable within the Order outside of the Council.
And isn't this the guy from the Old Republic? The one that was then? Isn't she the one that used the purple lightsaber? If I remember right, they might just look the same. It might be just perchance, but it reminds me of them too. You know,
came with additional privileges that those below them had no access to. For one, Masters were the only ones allowed to sit upon the Council, though there were cases across its long history where this was not always the case. Masters were also allowed to access nearly all of the knowledge of the Temple's vast archives, even peering into a few of the Sith artifacts locked up within guarded chambers for their studies. Fifth are the Jedi Council members. As stated earlier, nearly all of the members of this special rank were required to be a master before they could be given a seat. Those chosen were done so due to their remarkable achievements in specialized fields, including foresight and strategy, diplomacy, and lightsaber combat. Once on the Council, they were given great power to set the agenda of the Jedi Order, along with their peers, as well as giving orders to knights and masters under their respective areas of expertise. They were also involved with the political offices of the Galactic Republic. Within the Council, members were divided into two groups, permanent and temporary. Permanent members remained on the Council for a lifetime, only leaving upon their deaths or resignations. Temporary members were also divided among long-term and limited term. There are no exact dates for how long either of the two were expected to remain on the Council, but we can assume long-term members remained for around a decade, while limited term remained for only a few years. This constant cycle of select council members was to ensure new perspectives were always heard, while the permanent members served to cement the traditional views of the Order that were not to be flexible regardless of the affairs happening in the galaxy at the time. 6
smart,
are the Masters of the Order. This position was only held by a single individual at a time who served as the leader of the council. They were commonly tasked in meeting with heads of state and supreme chancellors, while also setting the topics of conversation within the council meetings. While they held considerable power as the head of the council,
I'm assuming Mace Windu was one.
Second in command when compared to the last rank of the Jedi hierarchy on this list. 7th are the Jedi Grand Masters. This was the highest rank within the Order and held by only a single member at a time. Grand Masters were elected by the council and served as the figurehead of the entire organization. Those chosen were done so for their wisdom and knowledge in the Force, as well as their ability of transversing the political spheres of the Republic. While the Masters of the Order were the heads of the Council, the Grand Masters were the head of the entire Jedi Order, giving them responsibilities that extended beyond the Council and its respective duties. Now we'll be getting into the various specializations that Jedi Knights often committed their entire life.
That gave me perspective of who Mace Windu was and who who Yoda was during all that way more. I didn't know the position, so now that makes sense why certain room or when they're conversing in rooms during the movies, how Mace Windu was always so stern and like pushing the idea out and everything, but it wasn't until he always got the approval of Yoda in the end. And he was an asshole to many, but never to Yoda. Never to Yoda. And now it makes sense.
To mastering. These specializations were grouped among the 3 schools: Guardians, Consulars, and Sentinels. Guardians focused their abilities on combat. As warriors, they were tasked in using their strength to defend the weak from injustice and uphold the laws of the Galactic Republic against criminals. They often wielded blue-bladed lightsabers. Counselors, on the other hand, used their knowledge of the Force to aid them in diplomacy, as well as using its mystical elements to study medicine, make scientific advancements, and expand knowledge within the Jedi archives. They commonly owned green-bladed lightsabers.
That makes sense.
Sentinels focused on honing their skills of the Force around subtlety, by using its power to influence others to achieve their goals and in other practical uses. Tracking, intelligence gathering, infiltration, and political manipulation were among the tasks undertaken by this group. They were also the fewest in number of the 3 schools. Their preferred lightsaber color was yellow, though they were also known to wield either blue or green-bladed lightsabers, as well as...
I thought the yellow color was saved for those, that third faction, right? From Jedi, the Republic. Am I wrong? I thought that's how that worked. They had the yellow ones were for them. Please correct me, comments, if I messed that up. But I swear that it was for them. Unless they took it from them, they just copied these people, or the other way around. We copied them. It could, be interchangeable. Point is, for me, I thought somebody stole somebody's flow here, right? Bar for bar, word for word, color for color. Somebody's shit got stolen. Either one way or the other. Which one is it? Thank you very much. I need to know.
Other less common colors. Under the Jedi Guardian School were 4 main branches. First are the Jedi Weapons Masters. They spent their time studying the art of combat and implementing exotic weapons as effective tools with the Force beyond the traditional lightsaber. These included light whips, quarterstaffs, and various other weapons found across the galaxy. Those known as Weapons Masters were most known for being among the best and most creative fighters in the Order. Second are the Jedi Instructors, who were tasked in teaching the new generations of the Order by overseeing the learning of initiates and Padawans while they weren't with their masters. While this role went beyond the combat...
Low-key, that's probably the most important role in the whole thing, because you're influencing and making sure that an entire generation is being taught and taken care of and everything. Ooh, that's cool. I like it. I like that role.
Aspects of the Force, some instructors became Jedi Battle Masters, whose sole duty was to instruct the youngest members of the Order in the basics of lightsaber combat.
Okay.
Third are the Jedi Aces. Those of this class specialized in mastering their skills in the cockpit of a starfighter, using the Force to enhance their piloting abilities for both combative and maneuvering purposes.
I see.
Aces were usually the first sent to sort out threats dealing with space conflict, or during evacuations where defensive escorts were required. Lastly, under the Jedi Guardian School was the Jedi Peacekeeper. As the name suggests, those under this class spent much of their time aiding local police enforcement on worlds that were experiencing social unrest. They would also help on investigations to catching criminals across the galaxy and busting nefarious crime syndicate operations. Jedi Peacekeepers also aided the Jedi Temple's security forces as well as Coruscant's upper level of law enforcement agencies. Those of the Temple's security forces were also divided as Jedi Gate Masters, Jedi Snipers, and Jedi Brutes.
Jedi Snipers? I thought they couldn't use weapons like that. I thought it was looked down upon. And I thought that one guy that made the sniper that could be against and for Jedis was shunned and his weaponry was looked down upon. How can you be a sniper then? You know? I'm pretty sure they hate guns, no? I remember Obi-Wan did. He's like, he shot a gun at, what's it called, at Grievous, and he's like, so uncivilized.
Gate Masters guarded the 4 main entrances of the temple.
Snipers
were stationed on the outer area of the temple, apprehending potential troublemakers before they could reach the main entrances of the temple. And Brutes were stationed near the walls, taking down intruders that may have made their way near the main building of the temple. Under the Jedi Consular School existed 6 main branches. First are the Jedi Ambassadors. They served as representatives to the Republic Senate, with their responsibilities including aiding members of the legislative bodies on their
Why is she kind of bad? I'm sorry. I'm moving on.
We're not talking about that. As spokesman
Moment of weakness.
On behalf of the Senate when contact was made on new worlds that wished to join the Galactic Republic. Second are Jedi Diplomats. Unlike their Jedi Ambassador counterparts, those in the Diplomat class focused primarily on interplanetary conflict rather than dealing directly with the Republic Senate's actions. For example, Jedi diplomats were sent to worlds where civil war was brewing among rival clans in hopes of settling their differences through peaceful means, while Jedi ambassadors would be sent to worlds on behalf of the Senate to discuss terms of the native people who wished to join the Republic or had tension with the galactic government's recent actions. Third are Jedi healers. They specialized in mastering the Force for healing purposes, which included using special crystals that amplified the remedy effects. While their primary cases took place within the temple to heal injured fellow Jedi, they were also employed on war-torn worlds and planets that were devastated by natural disasters to provide aid with their abilities. Fourth are the Lore Keepers. Their overall goal was to update and maintain the vast knowledge of the Jedi Order, typically falling into 3 specializations, as archivists, historians, and librarians. Archivists were tasked in storing and organizing the various texts within the Jedi archives, as well as uncovering lost records of ancient civilizations and translating them into Galactic Basic. Librarians, on the other hand, served mainly as guides within the Temple's archives, aiding Jedi that came through and helping them find the specific texts or hollows that they were looking for. Historians, in contrast, updated the archives through their research into collected texts and data, providing easier understanding through their analysis. They also studied the ancient histories of the Jedi Order and Republic, uncovering events that may have been lost to time and detailing them to their best abilities to provide accurate insight as to what happened during those historic times. Fifth are Jedi researchers. They served a similar purpose to lore keepers, but instead of updating the Jedi archives with historical knowledge, researchers instead provided scientific research and discoveries to the Temple's vast information pool. Their contributions ranged from biology, archaeology, astronomy, and
what kind of alien species are you? Look at that guy. That's an interesting Jedi. That really shows anybody can be a Jedi.
And geology. Many conducted scientific experiments and gathered data within their respective research fields, from outlying systems to be put into the archives. Researchers were also grouped into separate specializations, which included archaeologists, astronomers, liturgists, biologists, and geologists. Archaeologists spent their time exploring and retrieving useful artifacts from ancient temples, even those that were once used by the Sith Order. Astronomers took the task of studying the aspects of the galaxy, specifically when it concerned space travel, investing much of their time and resources in discovering usable hyperspace routes that could be used to secretly connect the Central Jedi Temple to its various important worlds such as Ilum. Liturgists were largely responsible for learning and translating ancient languages of
they had a lot of plethora of jobs, to say the least, you know, man, we got 5 different science divisions, we got 4 different exploring divisions, we got 4 different police divisions. No, BC, I think it's 6, right? Because gatekeeper, brutes, sentinels, peacekeepers, guardians, fucking the yellow ones that were like, there's just so many jobs, bro. They're providing for their community. I'll tell you that right now.
Destroyed civilizations and adding their newfound knowledge into the archives. Biologists spent their time discovering and studying new species across the galaxy, noting those that were uniquely connected to the Force, either to be used as possible assets for the Jedi Order or to label them as potential threats. Geologists dedicated their lives to uncovering and studying unique materials from unexplored planets, usually searching for fertile soils that could be used as farming grounds for the agricultural core to grow plentiful food to be transported to needy worlds. Lastly, for the consular school are Jedi Seers. Seers spent a majority of their time meditating and opening their minds to the Force, seeking visions from the Force and rallying their discoveries to the archives, as well as trying to connect them to any relevant documented texts or findings made from the other classes.
I see.
While generally inactive in peacetime, during periods of great unrest and galactic conflict, some counselors took up the role of Jedi Sage, essentially changing their focus from knowledge gathering to becoming on-the-ground sorcerers, as sages were known for favoring the direct use of the Force in combat over lightsabers.
Yes!
These combative applications ranged from using the Force.
Thank God, I was always troubled. Why, when you have the ability to use the Force, do you use a lightsaber all the time? I swear you're hindering yourself by using the lightsaber. Sure, it works as a tool, but I mean, and to kill, yes, but it shouldn't be your main weapon. I think the literal control of all the space around you should be your weapon, and I'm glad that exists out here somewhere.
Force to distort enemy armies with illusions, to using its power to directly rip apart enemy combatants.
Oh, thank God.
Under the Jedi Sentinel School existed 5 specialized classes. First are the Jedi Investigators, using the Force to track down beings across the grand space of the galaxy. Investigators worked alongside the Republic's law enforcement in tracking down high-profile criminals.
I see.
They were also known for infiltrating criminal organizations and spying on crime lords.
I see.
Second are the Jedi Recruiters. They were tasked in locating infant Force sensitives across the galaxy in hopes of recruiting them to the Jedi Order to be trained in their ways. Often, retired members of the Investigator branch previously were known to join as recruiters, using their abilities of locating beings with the Force on potential new Jedis rather than criminals. Jedi Recruiters were the most unpopular type of Jedi in the public's eye, often falling in heavy criticism from activist groups that viewed their methods of acquiring Force-sensitive babies as immoral and at times manipulative. Third are the Jedi Shadows.
Yeah, I can see that.
While their numbers
I could definitely see that. That's like the biggest thing. Here comes, you just had a child, right? You wanted a child all your life. You wanted to make a family, and you finally have a child, like get one child, right? Or 2 for that matter, right? And you're living your life, you're happy, and then here comes this Force user, Jedi recruiter, and he comes in and he talks to you, and he basically tells you, your kids are both Force sensitive and destined for greatness. May I take them and let them be trained so that they may become Jedi? And here you are forced with the situation of letting them be taken by this man and potentially become keepers of peace in the galaxy. And because of how the Jedi are and how strong and how big their empire is, that they will be greatly taken care of. and they will be mostly safe and like, you know, all that stuff, or raise them you. I don't really see the point why you would give the kid away. I'm gonna be honest. But then again, I'm like, well, if you're in a bad situation and financially whatever, or in a bad world, it could be seen like the better alternative. You know, I can't guarantee my kid's safety. This is the best choice I got. But that is like a very small case to the real picture of how this works. Because most of the time they're like, hey, your kid's great, your kid's destined for greatness. Let me take them. And you're like, huh? Because it's such a strong force, and they're gonna be very, like, you know, I wouldn't say demanding, but like very persuasive towards the idea. And then since it's a Jedi Knight, it's kind of scary, you know. I could see it being seen in such a negative light because it's such a sketchy thing to do. It's definitely one of the interesting things, but my God, my God, it's so weird. But it's also like how it's how you train somebody from youth, and that's how they could become a good soldier, I guess, or scholar. Either way, there's problems with it, yes, but like, I don't know.
Usefulness
this is the universe, I guess.
The longer the Republic remained in its state of peace, the Shadows were once essential following the fall of the historic Sith Empire, as they were tasked in hunting down dangerous Sith and other dark side embedded artifacts, and either destroying them or containing their evil powers. As the time period got closer to the Clone Wars, Shadows were also used in reporting to the Council on fellow Jedi that were suspected of falling to the dark side, making them in a way the secret police of the Jedi Order.
I see.
Fourth are the Jedi Temple Guards. Their main duties involved protecting the temple and its most valuable assets from all enemies of the Order, whether they be Darksiders or common.
Let me just say, look at that armor though, look at that drip. He got that shit on for sure. Look at it. Look at it. Oh my God. I just gotta say, man is blinged out. That is definitely drip. I wish I could put something like that off. I can't. I'm not. The mask is fire. The hood is fire. The robes are fire. The wraps are fire. The gauntlets are fire. Bro, the keys. Look at the keys. The keys are fire. This is oh. Man, drip.
Common thieves.
Drip.
They were also the first line of defense against large-scale attacks on the temple. Lastly, for the Jedi Sentinel School were the Jedi Watchmen. They were stationed to ensure peace over specific worlds and planetary systems. Their duties involved guarding the planets from potential intruders as well as maintaining orders on planets that they oversaw, which sometimes involved them subtly manipulating the political nature of said planets to ensure no conflicts broke out among rival political groups. As a bonus, we also have Jedi Artisans. While not a main class under the Sentinel School, most of its members did come from it. Artisans were quite rare but played a pivotal role in constructing and decorating the Jedi Temple, using the Force to craft magnificent statues and other symbols of the Jedi Order engraved on their sacred temple. Outside of the three main schools were a few other specializations. Within the Jedi Exploration Corps were Jedi Scouts and Seekers. Scouts were tasked in exploring uncharted regions of the galaxy and the planets they contained. Seekers traveled the galaxy typically guided by the Force itself, to aid those in need and to counter emerging dark side threats, usually cults or other minor factions influenced by its power. Then we have the Jedi Temple Quartermaster, who oversaw maintenance of all field equipment used by Jedi during missions. The title of Jedi Beastmaster was given to those who used their abilities to influence the minds of creatures for a range of purposes, including to study and control them. In some cases, they also experimented on the creatures and created new species.
Damn.
Caretaker of...
That's kind of dark, I'm not gonna lie. Also very cool though. Imagine Beastmaster. Ooh, I can control that tiger to attack that person because he stole $5 of my lunch money last Wednesday. He said he would pay it back, but guess what? I'm sicking the tiger on his ass. Die. Okay,
First Knowledge was another title held by those who oversaw the Jedi Academies on both Coruscant and their satellite facilities found on other worlds. They also protected the archives and its holocron vaults. Keeper of Antiquities was a position given to a member for the primary duty of safeguarding dangerous texts within the Jedi Temple, specifically Sith artifacts and holocrons. As well, we have the military titles given to Jedi during times of war.
I see.
The title of Jedi Commander was given to Padawans during the Clone Wars, where they were given some authority over their respective clone platoons. The title of Jedi General was given to Knights and Masters, where they oversaw entire armies. Senior Jedi Generals were given to a selective few Masters that controlled one of the 20 clone sector armies. Finally, High Jedi General were given to council members, who not only controlled one of the 10 system armies, but also held authority over all Jedi under their military command. There were a few other titles held by members of the Order across its long history, such as Jedi Lords, but they were either given to them by locals on planets as honorary titles, or were self-proclaimed without recognition from the Jedi Order itself. And those are all of the known Jedi ranks and types across the Order. Let us know which one you would specialize in if you were a Jedi, and what you would hope to achieve with your chosen class.
Which one would I do?
We also have a video going over all the ranks.
Oh, don't worry, I'm getting to that one eventually. Don't you worry your pretty little eyes. I'm getting to this video eventually. For sure, for sure. You guys could wait for it, because I'm going to drop it as soon as I can. But what Jedi rank will I want if I could pick one? Honestly thinking, if I had to really think of something I wanted to be, right? Definitely not a Grandmaster, definitely not on the Jedi console, right? Council. It'd be too restrictive to me, honestly, to what I want to do. I'd definitely be a sage. I'd definitely be a sage. But if I were to pick for the General 3, right? I'd say definitely not a Sentinel, not a Guardian. Probably this one.
Bladed lightsabers, as well as other less common, gathering, infiltration, and political manipulation were among the tasks undertaken by this group. Their goals, and in other Sentinels focused.
Oh, it was Sentinels. Oh, I was thinking, then when was the last one then?
Focused on the weak from injustice.
Guardian?
Make scientific advancements, elements, their knowledge of the Force to aid them in
Counselors. Ah, okay. It wouldn't be Guardian or Counselor. It would be Sentinels. Okay, I understand now. That was me making a mistake. But now I know I wanted Sentinels. I would probably be the Sentinel class then. Which, you know, it's not the best, but yeah, it covers some stuff I want to do. You know, that would be more. Anyways, besides that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I very much enjoyed it myself. I'm glad, and this was one of my favorite things to record, because I love Star Wars, and you guys know that. So if you want to see more of this content on my channel, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay cool, hydrate, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.